In a bizarre series of weeks, it seemed like this week was stranger than even the ones that came before.
But the abuse of the pardon power essentially gives him an opportunity to tell everyone around him, Congress is absolutely giving its power away, and in this case, really the most important power we have, which is the power of the purse. Oh, make no mistake, I take him as serious as a heart attack.
Okay. It was supposed to be a routine night. Adam Schiff, armed with his usual anti-Trump talking points, strolls onto Real Time with Bill Maher, expecting a cozy, like-minded conversation. You know the type. Bash Trump, throw in words like decency, democracy, and danger to the nation. Get a few claps from the audience, then call it a win.
I think it's true justice. The only thing he cares about is himself and money, and going after the money is a way to bring about some real justice.
Do you think he did it?
Yes, I do.
You do?
But what Schiff didn't realize, he wasn't walking into a hug. He was walking into a trap, because Bill Maher wasn't nodding along this time. He was waiting, calm, patient, and then he pounced.
Fundamentally, it's different because Donald Trump was much less successful.
It started the usual way. Schiff launched into his monologue about how, at the end of the day, America will choose a decent human being over a narcissist. The same lines he's been reciting since 2016. The audience was quiet. Maher was staring. And Schiff? Blissfully unaware that he was about to step right into the buzzsaw. Then it happened.
We have got shifty criminals in San Francisco. Democrat Adam Schiff's bags are stolen from his car in San Francisco.
Trying to show how in touch he is with regular folks, Schiff told a story. He said his luggage got stolen in San Francisco, which, let's be honest, happens more often than not in some of these cities now, and he ended up at a local Target. You know what the cashier told him? All Democrats are assholes. Not a conservative activist, not a GOP donor, a cashier in San Francisco. Now pause for a second. That's not just awkward, that's devastating. You don't get that kind of raw honesty from someone working retail unless things have gotten really bad.
And he is succeeding. He is succeeding. And more than anything else, he wants to make Republicans in Congress afraid because he wants them to do his will.
Democrats, especially in deep blue cities, have let things spiral. Crime, theft, homelessness, inflation, you name it. And regular people aren't blaming some abstract system or a broken economy. They're blaming the folks in charge, which in cities like San Francisco is overwhelmingly the Democratic Party.
Because stuff like that is kookier to
People,
and there's lots of
It's kookier than trashing the Capitol? What the fuck?
Thinking.
And Maher. Oh, he didn't miss a beat. He looked Schiff dead in the eye and said, I hope every Democrat hears that story.
I think at the end of the day, people are going to reject this bigoted, divisive figure. They're not going to want to put the country through
They have every time except that one time.
No laughter, no applause, just a stone-cold reality check. Because Maher wasn't just reacting, he was making a point, and it landed like a punch to the gut. He basically told Schiff, you're the face of a party that's losing touch, and even your own cities, your own voters, can't stand the results anymore. That cashier's comment wasn't a one-off. It was a warning flare, and Maher amplified it for every viewer to hear. And let's talk about that for a second, how far things have fallen.
Given the circumstances.
Right.
What would this second? Well, there's always something going on in the country. No, really.
In San Francisco, Target has to lock up deodorant. Theft is so bad that everyday items are under plastic. But instead of fixing it, politicians like Schiff have spent years yelling about Trump. 4 indictments, 91 charges, bankruptcy filings, January 6th, civil trials. They've thrown the book down and several libraries at Trump. And yet somehow Trump is still the frontrunner, still commanding crowds, still rising in polls. And Schiff, he's still talking about how people are going to reject divisiveness. Maher's not buying it, and he's not alone. Because when your cities are collapsing and your message is still orange man bad, people tune out, people move on. People start voting differently.
You can't do that. You can't be like, well, there's a war on. We have to stick with me. I mean, that doesn't work. It's a depression. Stick with me.
And Bill Maher, a man who's voted blue his entire life, finally said out loud what many on the left refuse to admit. You can't gaslight people into ignoring what's right in front of their faces. You can't call crime complicated when someone just got mugged 2 blocks from their home. You can't call inflation transitory when milk is $8. You can't keep lecturing people about democracy when they can't even afford groceries. That's the disconnect. That's the rot.
I have a deep personal interest, both because I represent this area for a long time in the House, and I love this industry.
And that's what Maher exposed. Not just Schiff's awkward story, but the larger failure it represents. A party so caught up in its own righteousness that it forgot how to lead. And Schiff? Schiff became the face of that failure in real time, on live television. With cameras rolling, it wasn't just a roast, it was a reckoning.
You can't do that. You can't be like, well, there's a war on. We have to stick with me. I mean, that doesn't work.
Let's be honest. The most brutal part of the entire Bill Maher versus Adam Schiff clash wasn't the part where Maher mocked woke ideology or even when Schiff stumbled through a rehearsed defense of Biden. No, the real damage came when Maher, in that signature dry delivery of his, casually dropped a truth bomb that didn't just hit Schiff. It scorched the entire Democratic strategy. The Atlantic said we shouldn't separate sports by sex. That's insane, he said, and the audience laughed. But Maher wasn't joking. You could feel the air change. He wasn't talking about culture wars for clout. He was pointing to the core reason millions of Americans, against all odds and indictments, still pull the lever for Trump.
Okay. All right, here's what people want to know. What are the panel's thoughts on the jury awarding, oh, this happened just before we went on the air, the jury awarding E. Jean Carroll.
See, Maher laid it bare. Trump may be awful, but he lives in reality. And just when Schiff might have recovered, comes in Stephen A. Smith. Yes, that's Stephen A. Smith, ESPN loudmouth, proud liberal, and usually a dependable voice for the left. But on this night, even he had enough. He practically leaned across the table and said what half the country's been screaming for years. You've thrown everything at him, and he's still here. Still the nominee. Still winning.
I respect the fact that you don't share my pessimism. I truly do. I understand where you're coming from. But I think that's part of the problem. I think the Democratic Party should share my pessimism. I think they should be on high alert.
And he didn't stop there. He rattled off the full rap sheet. 4 indictments, 91 criminal counts, bankruptcies, civil cases, still standing. The man has more than 9 lives, Smith joked. But the laughter was nervous because the message underneath was deadly serious. Schiff looked like someone had pulled the rug out from under him. Maher just nodded. No counterpoint, no rescue mission. Just silence. Because what was there to say? The guy they spent years trying to bury was somehow stronger than ever.
I think they need to treat him with the seriousness that it deserves.
And then came the kicker. Schiff made the worst prediction in the history of cable news. Straight-faced, he declared, Joe Biden will beat Donald Trump because Americans want a decent human being. That aged like expired cottage cheese. Because, spoiler alert, Trump won. Biden lost. Schiff's smug little soundbite turned into the meme of the week. Twitter, well, X, had a field day. Even the liberal media tiptoed away from it like it never happened. That one line became a symbol of everything wrong with elite bubble thinking. The assumption that elections are decided on vibes, while the rest of the country is dealing with inflation, rising crime, and collapsing public trust. Schiff wasn't just wrong. He was confidently wrong, and the internet doesn't forget that kind of mistake.
Make no mistake, I take him as serious as a heart attack.
Okay.
I'm optimistic, but we're going to have to fight tooth and nail, and one of the biggest obstacles we're going to have to overcome is all the efforts to prevent people from voting.
Okay.
We're going to have to turn out our people. We're going to have to work like never before.
And here's the subtext everyone could hear even if no one said it out loud. Schiff sees Biden's political capital burning down like a California wildfire, and he's grabbing the nearest escape pod. This wasn't a principled critique. It was pure political survival. Schiff wants distance from Biden now that the president's poll numbers are circling the drain and even Democrats are whispering about alternative options. And Maher, he just sat there, watching the fireworks. Because he didn't need to say more. Everything that went down, the woke delusions, the failed predictions, the sudden Biden skepticism, proved his larger point.
Our democracy is on the line because it damn well is.
Right.
I take this as serious as a heart attack.
The reason Trump survives isn't because he's some genius tactician. It's because, at the very least, he acknowledges reality. While his opposition is busy debating the ethics of locking up pronouns and pretending inflation isn't real, he's talking about gas prices and groceries. For many Americans, that's all it takes. And as this Maher Schiff segment showed, brutally, hilariously, and in real time, The Democrats are still miles away from learning that lesson.
I mean, I read about it, but I don't know.
So you don't trust anything either, and you work for the New York Times.
Well, when the New York Times does its full reporting, I will trust that.
Okay.
And when you think the story couldn't get any juicier, comes Brett Stevens. Yes, a New York Times journalist, straight up confessed on air that he doesn't even fully trust his own paper. Let that sink in for a second. This isn't some rogue podcaster in a hoodie. This is one of the blue-check certified legacy media loyalists saying, yeah, even we don't buy our own headlines anymore. If this shook your trust in the headlines, smash that like, subscribe, and join the rebellion. It's only getting louder.